Hi, my name is Bailee, and today we are talking about the 4 keys to unlocking your financial well-being. Well, first off, let's talk about this. What is financial well-being? Next, please. Awesome. So, there are a couple points that we need to go over. Financial well-being first is having enough money to pay for the things you need, such as food, shelter, transportation. Having savings for things we know are coming up, like clothing, car maintenance, Christmas. And having savings for things that we don't know are going to happen. That could be a car accident, a hospital stay, or even our basement flooding. Also, having enough money to pay for the things that we want, like a vacation, a new TV, or a recreational vehicle. Now, the question is, how do you get there? Number 1, a budget. What is a budget? A budget is a prioritized plan of where your money should go each month to help you effectively reach your goals. Knowing what you have coming in, which would be your income, and what you have going out, such as your bills and expenses, allows you to have and do the things that are important to you. Now, there are some budget guidelines that I would highly recommend. Now, behind me, here we have a table, and we have our expenses, and then the percent of the net income. Now, we broke this down into percentages. And as we can see, first we have housing, 35% of our net income. 15% of our net income can go to food, 15% for transportation, 15% for living expenses, and then 10% for debt payments and savings, as a total for 100%. Now, when we're looking at this, we want to think, okay, if we have these percentages going, it will all total up to 100%. Now, if you calculate it all and you're like, oh, that's not 100%, that's 120. Well, then we need to lighten things up on certain points so that we can truly have 100% and we're not going into debt for things that we super need, like housing, food, transportation, living expenses, debt payments, and our savings. It is vital that we stay within our budget. Now, as we're going forth and we're creating our budget, it's not going to look like this at first. We're going to have different numbers, and some things are going to be higher, some things are going to be lower, and it just will vary. But guys, that's okay, because as we start creating the budget, it's normal for our numbers to be out of whack. But what we truly want to do so that we get the best bang for our buck is to zero in and to align with these recommended budget guidelines. Awesome. So when we are creating an effective and realistic budget, there are a couple steps that I would highly suggest. Number 1, be simple. 2, have it in writing. I don't care if it's on a computer or if it's in an app or if it's on a pad of paper, but it needs to be in writing, friends. 3, plan for periodic and upcoming expenses, which we will touch on in a moment. Number 4, include an emergency savings plan. And number 5, assign every dollar a place. Now, this last one, I don't care if it's for gas or groceries or that candy bar you really want. Just every dollar needs to be assigned to a place. So number 2 is save. Can we continue, please? Perfect. Thank you. So having money in a savings account, it's essential to developing and maintaining financial health. We need to save for for the now, and we need to save for the future. So we got our budget, number 1. Great. Now, number 2, our step is to save. Things that we save for the now are things that we know are coming up. Holidays, birthdays, car registration, Christmas, clothing purchases, things we know are going to come up. Even tires, I would add in there. Then we save for the future. These are unexpected expenses or events, emergencies, and retirement, job loss, injury, and then also like damage to your home or auto, retirement, income replacement, travel, fun, and medical expenses. And when we're looking at these, these things can vary, but really, these things are things we're like, oh, I hope that doesn't happen, right? But just in case, it's good to have money set aside for those. Now, there are many different types of savings products available, and there are things to consider when we are looking at choosing a savings product. 3 top things that I would suggest that you look at when you're looking at getting a savings account. Number 1 is risk. Number 2 is return. And number 3 is accessibility. When we're talking about risk, is the institution or provider insured? Are your funds guaranteed? For return, what is the rate? Is it fixed or variable? Meaning, is the rate going to stay the same or variable? Is it going to fluctuate with the economy? That may change what type of savings account you want. Accessibility. Can you make deposits at any time? Or can you withdraw funds at any time? When are you able to withdraw those funds? And are there early withdrawal penalties or fees associated with this account? These things are very important to talk about with your institution before opening an account, and to think about in aspects of what you like and what you expect. So number 3, build and maintain good credit. So first we have budget. 2, savings. 3, build and maintain good credit. Good credit will allow you to borrow what you need with the best rates and terms. And it's not only important to borrow what you need, it's important to only borrow what you need. More isn't always better. The reason is when you're looking at your budget, like we were talking about with our with our table, and we said, okay, we only want to have about 30 to 35% as debt payments. Well, that includes your car, that includes your house, that includes your credit cards, things like that. And so actually, sometimes the home is in there, sometimes it's not. It just depends. But all your credit cards, all of your debt is going to be included in that, and you want that to be 35%. So if you make, just to have a rough estimate, if you make $1,000 a month and that's what you're bringing in, you only want to have $350 to be your debt payments. And so if you have a car that's already $200 or $300, you want to be able to have that wiggle room. And so when you're applying for loans, you want to make sure that you can afford it, because if it's outside that range, then you may not be able to save for the things that you truly, truly want to do in the future. And so it's vital that you only take out loans and things for things that you can afford, because it will truly protect you and your family. Awesome. Let's continue on. So actually, let's go back. My apologies. This last point, credit histories impact more than just your applications, just more than just applying for credit. They also matter when you're purchasing a cell phone, when you're renting an apartment, applying for a job, and purchasing auto insurance. So, like I said, it's super important that we take good care of our credit because it affects so many things. Like even renting or purchasing a cell phone, that's crazy. But every time you go and pull your credit as well, it can decrease your credit score. But something that I'd really like to share is if you're going out and you're purchasing an auto loan and you go to multiple dealers to try and get the best rate or different institutions, the credit bureau will notice that and they will be able to say, okay, well, that's for one car, and they will pull it together as one pull on your credit. Whereas if you go and you apply for different credit cards and things, that would be separate inquiries. But for auto loans, it is combined, so we don't need to worry about that. But we don't want to pull it a lot because when we pull our credit, it decreases it and it pulls it down literally. And so we want our credit to rise, so we don't want to pull it a lot. That's one step to building wonderful credit. So I want to also talk about how is our credit score determined? Well, we're into percentages today, so let's go again. 35% is on payment history. So make your payments on time. 30% is on the amounts owed on credit cards compared to the limits. So you want to keep those limits, you want to keep your balances low and pay them off every month. 15% is based on the length of credit history. And so if you have a credit card that has been open for a long period of time and you're like, oh, maybe I should close it because I keep spending on this card. Don't close it. I would suggest you lock the card, pay it off, and then just keep it locked so that it's still open. It's still an open trade line on your credit, but then you're not tempted to go out and use it. Because that long trade line can actually help you because it shows that you are trustworthy. It shows that that institution has trusted you for that long period of time. And that is one of these points that can help. Another point is the types of credit that is used. This is 10%. So you want to have an auto loan. You want to have, but you also want to have like a credit card. You want to have different types of things on your credit to show that you can handle money in different types of ways. Basically, your credit score is just saying, okay, can financial institutions trust you? And if you're responsible and you're making your payments and you're acting within reason, you're going to be fine and your credit score is going to go up. I personally, when I first became an adult, I got a credit card and I just got like a small limit, and I also got a line of credit. And I just used my credit card for things that were especially necessary, like gas. And then I would pay it off every time. And just by having that credit card and line of credit, my credit score is able to go up and I was able to build something. And so that's a great way to start if you would like, starting with a simple balance, like a simple amount on a credit card that you can afford. But I wouldn't suggest going out and getting like 10 credit cards, right? You just want to start with something simple, start with one, maybe go and get an auto loan. Now, if you can afford it, because 35%, it's saying payment history. So you want to make sure you can make those payments, or else you're just going to be hurting your credit. So payment history, amounts owed, the length of your credit history, the types of credit that is used, and the number of inquiries all have an impact on your credit score. Number 4, we need to protect your identity. So Let's go back. We got really lost in the credit for a minute, so I want to refresh. Number 1, budget. Number 2, save. Number 3, build your credit. And number 4, protect your identity. Fraudulent activity is widespread, and it's really important that you safeguard your identity and your account information. A credit report is actually a tool that lenders and service providers use to assess how much of a risk you will be. So, to verify that your information is accurate, you should check your credit report annually. And you can do that with 3 credit report bureaus at www.annualcreditreport.com. This is a free service, and you can do it yearly, like I said, and it won't pull your credit. It won't hurt you. And so I would suggest you decide today which day of the year you want to take a pull at your credit, and you do that every year and look through it and make sure everything looks correct. You want to make sure that there isn't any fraudulent activity or anything you don't recognize. And maybe there's something you need to dispute and correct. It's a really good tip to always check your report annually. Second, you should also review your transactions on your cards and in your accounts. Every month, I would suggest at least pulling up your account and looking at each transaction to make sure that it looks correct. Fraudsters, they're sneaky. They'll start off with just little transactions here and there to see if you notice. And if you don't, then they know that they can use your account and they will go further. And so every little thing, make sure that you did make that purchase, you did make that transaction, because I'd rather you be extremely safe and cautious than sorry. But if something is amiss, contact your financial institution or creditor and the credit bureau, whatever you may need to do right away, and they will help you handle it. Lastly, America First Credit Union is proud to offer free financial counseling. These ladies are wonderful. I know both of them personally, and they are both CUNA certified credit union financial counselors who can help you. And they can help you establish a budget, set savings goals, assist with building and repairing your credit and debt management, and repay debt reduction. You can schedule your personalized review with a CUNA certified financial counselor today. And you can go to americafirst.com to do that. America First Credit Union is here to serve you and to help your financial well-being. We love being able to come and talk to you guys about these wonderful tips and tricks. And truly, the most important part I want you guys to take away from today is that we care. We care about you guys, and we care about your financial stability and you individually. So if you guys need help or you want some more guidance on how to budget, on how to save, on how to build your credit, or any issues you may have with fraud or anything of that sort, feel free to contact us. With a wide variety of competitive products and services, we can help you achieve your personal financial well-being. Visit one of our branches today and find us online at americafirst.com or call us at 1-800-999-3961. Awesome. Now, does anyone have any questions before we end today? Awesome. It doesn't look like we do. Well, thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.